really bothered to dress up for this video. First of all, hello. Second of all, my neighbors are having a pool party and it looks really cool. I'm holding my microphone today. There's also a slight breeze and I really hope that the microphone doesn't pick it up because I'm gonna be so mad. There is a subscriber on my channel. Whoever you are, I am so grateful to whoever is crazy enough to follow me. Thank you so much. Like I when I saw it, I was like, whoa. And also we had like 100 views on the Eurovision video part 1. I was away at Opener Festival, as you can tell, so that's why I didn't upload anything last week, even though I wanted to, but I'm going to do a video on what happened at Opener, because if you follow the festival world, you will know that we've had a very sexy 4-hour-long evacuation. I will do like what I wore, my outfits, and then I will talk about the experience. So what are we doing today, my lovely people? Today we are discussing Stranger Things 4, Volume 1 and 2. We're going to talk about the whole season, and we are going to talk about why I think it sucks. Okay, it doesn't suck. It just isn't, in my opinion, as good as most reviews and people online are saying. Unless you want the whole season to be spoiled, don't watch this. A lot of things actually happen in this season, pointlessly, but they happen. So, yeah, just kind of take it. You know, this is your warning. Don't be mad at me for talking about it. But mostly it's about storytelling. Again, that for me, especially from my stage side of things, storytelling is important to me, and it just didn't land, in my opinion, as well as maybe they thought. I have too many opinions that nobody asked for, so I'm sharing them with you. If Stranger Things 4 was a revolutionary series and a revolutionary season to you, props. Honestly, hats off. Amazing. I'm happy for you. I wish you well. But you're also kind of wrong. Yeah, shall we talk about it? Let's talk about it. Also, listen, I know I'm a very face-forward person with my receding hairline. I know, and it's okay. This story is boring. This season is divided into 4 plots, and you've got the Hawkins killings, which is actually an okay plot, and I think that's the only one that was actually needed. You've got the California crew, you've got Eleven's bullshit origin story, and you've got the Russia flops. Those are the 4. We're gonna work backwards. So we're going to start at the Russia one. Also to kind of tell you how I feel about this, because I do not like this arc at all. The whole Russia thing is boring. It's pointless. It's repetitive. It's kooky. It's booky. It's like they just didn't know what to do with the 4 adults that the show has. So they've sent them all to the Soviet Union. Cool. Also, a useless attempt at the late Cold War fitting the script. I think they tried to connect the rivalry between the countries. There is a lot of conspiracy theories on stuff like secret weapons and supernatural things and, you know, the area, whatever, 69. And the Russians coming up with like alien technologies and destroying the world. It was a big part of the culture at the time. I just don't understand why that needed to be in the script. And in general, I don't understand why all of a sudden the Soviet Union was part of the Stranger Things plotline. It wasn't there at the beginning and we don't need it now. I think it like first kicked in season 3 with the mall. Also like the dumbest thing that in that specific mall is when they find out there is this Russian organization. Like, what? It's so unnecessary also for one reason. Let Hopper die. He kind of served his purpose, and it was really good to kill him off in season 3 because it was about, like, how do you manage as a group losing the second best leader, first best being obviously 11, and how do they manage without this, like, obvious guy that's just gonna, like, throw punches at everybody and be mad and scream. He could have just died at the end of season 3. He didn't need to survive. Also, Winona Ryder, couldn't you, like, why didn't you just peruse? You didn't look around? So the explosion happens. By the way, it's not how explosions work. He would absolutely have died in that explosion. You can't just, like, jump underneath the explosion. It doesn't work like that. You can't just be like, and then you're safe. That explosion also looked huge. And, like, Winona Ryder was, like, so distressed, and, like, you couldn't just do this. He's there. But he, like, ran out. And then also, why were the Russians back in there to pick him up? Why do they pick him up? How do they know he's an asset to anybody when he isn't? Like, what? Why? And also, like, then they go to this most protected prison in the Soviet Union, and they break in virtually no trouble. The whole character of the smuggler who has this change of heart after receiving a pep talk. Like, it's so stupid. It makes no sense. I hated it. I honestly, whenever that part of the plot came on, I would just zone out. I'd kind of watch it. I would check my phone. I would, like, roll my eyes a lot. There were so many problems with it. Hopper could have just died. He could have. I don't like, in general, in series when they, like, kill off the main character for the sake of, like, shock and then bring them back. And it happens twice in this series, in literally this season itself. And you can't keep finishing seasons, by the way, by kind of killing somebody and then bringing them back to life just because you want to, because you know the audience likes the characters. Sometimes it's much better to kill off the character that audience really loves and not always, like, the villain. And we'll talk about all of the deaths that happened this season, but this one specifically was, like, this whole arc was not it. And Hopper's discovery that he was alive could have been as easy as, I don't know, looking around. I'm not looking for realism in a sci-fi show, but I'm looking for a bit more I was about to say realism, but just common sense. I don't think that section had any common sense at all, because trust me, no matter what prison you would like to break into, you wouldn't be able to, even in the 80s. Especially not by, like, taking a broken plane from Alaska to, like, the middle of nowhere. I'm getting hot and uncomfortable. The part of the, Soviets are very bad and they want to use the Yeah, the fact that they were, like, harvesting them as Russians, and they've also, like, so easily trapped the Mind Flayer, who obviously is a separate entity within even this season. So how does all of a sudden now Wagner do everything? Do you see what I mean? Like, this show just, like, it works against itself. The script mind mapping in general, like, hire me, Netflix, please, I'll help you. No consequences out of anything that happened in the plot of the Soviet Union. It didn't advance anybody else in any way, even though they tried to by being like, if we kill all of the dogs in the prison, then that will help the kids. How do you know your kids are in trouble? How do you know that they're fighting? Because you didn't know that. You didn't even know Elle was gone or away. Because in the very last scene, when you all reunite, you talk about, like, how you took that conference flight, whatever. You have no idea what your kids are up to. You don't. What kind of mother? What kind of parent are you? It makes no sense. Stop. Like, why are you there? Moving on, I think you get my point, right? The whole Russian thing was, I probably forgot like half my points at this point because I'm trying to film this like in like 30-degree heat. Okay, now we're going back to Els or 11 going into the Nina lab in order to regain her powers, and it's only there to backtrack 3 seasons only to explain one backstory, and that's not even 11's, it's actually Wagner's or 1's or whatever. Is it Tom? Is his name Tom, or am I confusing it with Harry Potter?
3 days later.
I just don't know. I don't care. I wrote, number 1 point that I have is that this is literally not what happened in season 1. 11 in season 1 snapped necks just by doing this. Oh. But she like killed people when she was younger. It made absolutely no sense to all of a sudden change the whole story and what happened and how it happened. I don't remember the whole massacre thing being in season 1. And you'd think that that's a very important plot point as to why she would have escaped the lab and how she did it, right? And why then the Dr. Strange person, whatever his name is, the science daddy, trying to chase her down in season 1, and then later on, because they are being chased kind of all the time, right? I don't know, are they? Like, why are they not chasing? I don't remember. Maybe they're not, I don't know. It just makes no sense. It makes no sense. So I said it contradicts what the magic system in Stranger Things is. And let me take you to Stranger Things has previously established to be a fairly strict system. You have kids who are groomed into having these supernatural powers, and those powers also were different. Do you remember number 8 in like season 2? Her power was that people, like, she could make people see whatever, right? This season, everything changes because all of a sudden, every single kid has the exact same power, and that's the telekinesis. Like, move objects with their heads, and also, I guess, general understanding of where objects or people are placed anywhere in the world, right? And we see that in one of the scene where the science daddy sits with another number and the other number witnesses the whole catastrophe that happened in Hawkins' lab, right? Where number 1 like goes off, sis, and pops. We get this story that number 1 didn't gain his powers in the lab. How does he even get to the lab? I'm sure that was explained, but this is the problem. I don't remember because that show complicates everything so much. That's not her origin. She didn't escape because of 1. That was never established. 1 was not even a thing ever up until this season. And you'd think that the main villain of it all, who's all of a sudden the mind flayer and controls all of the demo creatures and whatever, you'd think that that would exist from the very beginning, right? No, actually, you're wrong. It doesn't. And it frustrated me because I was like, it's a beautiful story to have this kid who doesn't even speak a word of the language, is so kind of terrorized and has this trauma through experiments that she's experienced, now meets kids in season 1 and becomes a child, like becomes good, understands that she is actually not a weapon but an innocent kid. And that's where the charm of season 1 was. The Stranger Things that I loved was the fact that 11 was groomed into thinking she's a monster and she's a weapon, but she was a kid, and it was amazing. And now everything changed. I don't know, because the Fire Nation attacked, I guess. I don't know who's the Fire Nation, Soviet Union. Oh yeah, and also another thing. When she goes to the Nina lab, why does she even, how are they now care for her when literally in season 1, when they go back to the lab to find Will, because that's where the gate is, the people from the lab go back to kill Elle. Did this, do you remember the "Hi, I'm child services" scene from season 1 with the guy from the diner? Then the last scene where Elle literally kills every single agent in the lab that chases the children, and they're like pointing guns at them ready to shoot, and Elle goes, "Ma." And now you're like, baby, we need to help you because there is like, this creature that wants to come into our world, and we need to fight him. How do you know that? First of all, how do you know that when it's literally 11 that this guy discovers that one is Vecna / Mind Flayer? It's like, I don't know. I also don't know why is the military involved all of a sudden. Why are they chasing her? Where are they from? I know that they blame 11 for all of the killings and stuff that happen in Hawkins, right? Because they're kind of like supernatural, obviously, like blah 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 blah. Why are they there? Why is it all of a sudden like a different conflict than it was for the past 3 seasons? Now, like this part of military that's a different part that created 11 wants to destroy her and is chasing her. Why does she spin the helicopter? Why, like, stop taking your time to like kill things, 11. Just do this with your hand. Like, you don't need to like. She was like, no, just let it go. And she spinned Vecna at the end as well. I was like, stop spinning things, just kill them. No. Like, I just can't connect the dots. I can't connect the dots. I can't do it. I feel like I'm gonna cry. The audacity for them to now make 11 the one who created the Upside Down. Go fuck yourself. It makes no sense. So what was that? When Vecna goes there for the first time, that's not even the Upside Down. That's like the world in between, the purgatory. And then it's like the second time, like when they experiment on 11, later on. So hold on. So this is my problem, right? So we have this story between like there are kids between numbers 1 and 11. The whole massacre in the Hawkins lab happens, and then 11 is the only one left because 1 killed everybody. 1 is killed by 11 or sent to the purgatory. So then it's just her. Then the experiments continue. So you either have the second set of kids, and that's when 8 comes in as a kid who all of a sudden has different abilities than all of the other kids before, or I don't know. And then season 1 picks up, and that's when they try to make her open the gate. So they somehow know in season 1 that she's able to open gates to this other upside down world. But now all of a sudden she's opened it by accident because she killed Vecna the first time round. So what are they opening in the season 1? What are you opening? What is the what? Like, I'm angry because I don't understand what the fuck happens this season. They've just tried to backtrack things that were already established. Am I the only one? Am I like missing something? Because maybe I'm like stupid. What happened in season 1? So how did she even escape? Because I know that she escapes and they find her in the woods, whatever. But like, what? You could have had just a good science study finding 11 and making the bad science daddy still the antagonist in the real world, not the upside down, right? Trying to hunt her down because still after all these years, obviously she killed all the other subjects. She's super dangerous. She needs to be neutralized, whatever. The good science daddy finds out that she lost her powers, but also understands because can sense, whatever, has an understanding of the upside down, Maybe Wynona's character without Hopper, they meet, somehow try to convince 11 to train, all of this stuff. That would have been so much more interesting. And then it's the bad science daddy that tries to chase her up until the moment when Vecna wins this part, and only then would the bad science daddy and the Good Science Daddy and 11 understand that only if they reunite and maybe create the whole army, and that's when the, I guess, set of kids come in, like the 8. And then, now season that's going to come is going to be that great battle of, like, the Mind Flayer, who could have been just a character, and Wagner. They could be 2 separate villains coming from the Upside Down that could have existed forever, because why not? Upside Down could have been explained as a world that, I don't know, maybe is seen by the creator of Dungeons and Dragons all the time, and that's why, like, the characters overlap all the time. They could, you know what I mean? Like, it could have been so interesting that still would have led to what season 5 is going to lead to, which is this grand battle of Hawkins, without trying to split it into too many ideas, because you're trying to give a redemption arc to a guy that's obviously still bad and dies for it in season 4, and I'm talking about the bad science daddy. God knows what happens to the Good Science Daddy. And also, at the very end scene, you see the military right at the Hawkins gate, the huge gate that's open between Upside Down. So they are obviously now aware, because they were aware before that Upside Down exists, that they need 11, that they were trying to hunt down, which means that now 11 is going to have to connect together with the military that was trying to kill her at the Nina lab to do her job. So who's bad? Moving on, next plot point. Sorry, I'm so much, but this is my main problem, is all about the plot, really. The other problems are like secondary, but this is the main problem for me with the show. Another problem is the California crew. How do 4 kids in a pizza delivery van outsmart Secret Services? Take a second. Take 2 seconds. Take a whole moment. Take several moments. Whack! 2 stoners and 2 kids are able to navigate the Nina lab better than the military, who's also part of the military. Okay, who's owning the Nina lab? Who owns it? Is it, rent to own? Okay, another thing that I have is the weed issue with the van kids. One guy is the butt of the joke, and funny, I guess he's the non-white guy, versus the white guy who's like, I know I've been smoking, I know it's wrong, and I know I've been doing it because I have so many problems, and I, need to go to college, but I'm just getting high. This is unintentional profiling of being like, oh, this is how I read it. And I'm trying not to be the person that's too woke to an era, and that I'm trying not to be that person, but it just did come across a little bit like, oh, this one guy is just like a pizza delivery person, and this person smokes because that's how he is, and it's ha ha he he, super funny. But then when the mysterious white guy that's the protagonist and, one of the main love interests in the whole season, and is the Harry Styles of the situation, this misunderstood little boy, oh, he smokes because he's so misunderstood, and he just wants to go to college with his girlfriend, but maybe he's not smart enough, and he's very self-conscious, so he goes to drugs to find really fuck off. I didn't. No. I believe the cast lacks diversity. I know that you'll be like, well, how much diversity do you want? More. I want more diversity. That's how much I want. I don't think that having 3 characters, 4... I can think of 4 characters who are non-white right now. I'm not gonna count as people whose second language is Russian as diversity. Wish it wasn't just one song that could save you from Wagner's curse, because I swear to God, by episode 3 or when the Kate Bush kicked in, it's one of my favorite songs, or it has been up until this point, and I don't want to be the person that is like, I used to like it before it was cool. But listening to one song in every single episode, where episodes are sometimes 3 hours long, gets repetitive and boring. And I wish it was like, hey, so in order for Max to survive Vecna's curse, it's not just going to be this one song that helped you. We're going to burn you like a whole mixtape of really cool songs, and you can listen to them on repeat as a whole album or a cassette. That would make sense. Like, people have more than one favorite songs, and also I think from a logical point of view, if she listens to that one song across however many days or weeks the action takes place for, she would be vomiting down that hill. Fed up that road, fed up that building. Like, it could have been a mixtape. It could have been like, you know, like Peyton from One Tree Hill type of mixtape. You know what I'm saying? Why couldn't Max just die? And before you say, oh my god, she's the best character. Yeah, she is. I agree with you. But she's been cursed. Her legs have been broken. She couldn't feel anything. She's lost her eyesight, which she says she couldn't see or feel anything, and her eyes went black and, or like white rather, and she was bleeding from them, meaning her retina's like exploded. There is no eye left there. And she then dies, and then the whole season finale, the volume 2 thing, I was most of the time just bored of my tits. But that was that one part where I was like, whoa, okay, they actually did something. And it was so intense, and I was like, damn, okay, they've gone and done something. And this is going to be interesting, like how every of those characters is going to deal with this major death and loss, because, you know, they've had many ones like this, you know, and Max, obviously, her whole arc being like mourning Billy and wanting to die instead of him and all of that stuff, and then dying from now that we know is the same villain, even though it shouldn't be. I was like, whoa, this is intense. And it's like they try to have this grand plan for Max to be the marked person and sacrifice herself to be the fourth clock. Ding, ding, dong. She survives. Why? Because 11 all of a sudden can bring people back from the dead. What? How? So this is what the soft magic system, this is what pisses me off. So Vecna somehow learned how to read minds off of rabbits. That's his backstory, by the way. He like killed rabbits and was like, I can read their minds. And 11 all of a sudden now can bring people back from the dead. Based on what? Based on, like, what does she do? Does she do rum bum bum rum kum 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 with the heart? Or like, how does it, how? Pointless. It's pointless to save Max. And I love Max, but I was like, come on, this is exactly what this show needed. And then they, after doing it, and again, what they did last season, 10 minutes after, they reversed the death of the main character. Stop protecting the main character so much. It's impossible that after what everybody goes through, storyline-wise, they all survive. And I'm not talking about Eddie, because Eddie was obviously groomed from the very beginning to die. They were like, hey, how can we make this lovable character that then just dies at the very end? And it was so predictable, and I felt bad because I would have preferred Eddie to survive and then Max to die. How? Nancy was marked, and then everybody forgot about it. How did Nancy shake off the curse? Because I don't see her with headphones on the way I saw Max, but all of a sudden nothing happened. Nothing happened to her. She was marked, right? Like, there is a whole scene at which... The scene at which she was marked. Am I in a fever dream? Like, there was no consequences to Nancy. The more I dig with this video, the more I get pissed off at all of the ideas that have happened in this series. So yeah, I think I'm gonna let it go here. Plot-wise, there are more things that I think I could dig into, but you get my point and you know why I'm frustrated. I remember in season 1 specifically, there was, I think, no more than 1 or 2 jump scares, and they kind of happened towards like the ending where the tension was really intense. Like, tension was intense. Tension was really building up. Season 1, didn't rely on jump scares. It relied on creating real tension, beautiful, scary moments, but never like meh moments. Did you get scared? I tried. And this season was like jump scare. There was at least one in every episode. Create real anxiety. Create real anxiety for people. It's going to be much, much better for you as a person. Trust me, as a viewer, for you as a creator. Elevated. It's just not good enough because it's not horror. If you want to make a gory horror with a lot of jump scares, you want to make it cheap that way, fine. But you're supposed to be creme de la creme of television, right? Even also Hereditary, all of those, like, so many things that do jump scares right. I don't know, it just confused me. I'm really going through it. This child is screaming outside. My thigh is burning. The sun is really kicking in. I really want to finish this video. The decisions on that are so stupid. First of all, why do you split 8 episodes in 2 episodes? For what? Also, why are some episodes like an hour and 40 minutes and the other one is like 35? What? This is why it pisses me off. When they just release the whole season, right? Everybody will watch it differently. I binge because I am a person, I have a very hyper-focused mind. So once I'm focused on something, I need to finish it. Like that with most books and most TV series, especially when they're released like this. But the problem is that then I can't discuss it with anybody. And there were a lot of people who I knew watched this season, and unless they finished it, I couldn't say anything. Because some of my friends would watch 1 episode a day, or maybe watch 2 episodes, and then, we're busy for 4 days, and then watch another episode, and they were busy for a week. Not everybody watches the same way. When you release episode by episode, week by week, everybody's on the same page all the time, creating more hype. When you release episode 1, episode 2, episode 3 weekly, everybody is on the same page. Yeah, sure, sometimes people watch it the day after or something, whatever. But in general, for that whole week, everybody will be like, whoa, have you seen the last night's episode? All of this has happened. And it creates hype and it keeps people interested to come back, because then the cliffhangers at the end of every episode make sense. You're absolutely taking away the magic of TV over film when you take those cliffhangers away, because somebody can just binge it. Also, for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to do 1 more episode. And then the episode after would be like 2 hours. And I'd be like, well, I don't want to watch it. But then my friend would have. And I couldn't talk to them about it. Because I was like, well, I can't watch both. I can't watch 2 in a row. Or like when I sat down, I've watched the episode 9 and episode 10, or the finale, the volume 2, which was so stupidly divided, in one go. That took me 4 hours to watch 2 episodes. That baby crying. For example, like Euphoria is much more digestible, even though the season 2 was an absolute car crash. But it was much easier to digest because you only had like 45 minutes a week to watch. Oh yeah, and my last problem is Wagner as a character. Wagner's backstory is the fact that him as a kid hated capitalism. Monologue that he delivers when he fights with Eleven in the lab, and he's like, every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every year, every month, we're just here to work and live and die, and everybody's pretending to be who they are, but they're not. They're pretending to be perfect, but they're not perfect. You're mad at capitalism, and now you're a villain of the whole world. That's so dumb. So what is Vecna mad at? His family, because they pretended to be perfect? What did his family actually do? Because again, I don't remember the backstory enough to remember that. I don't know if he had like really abusive father, like really abusive, but then would like pretend everything's fine. I'm just really confused why they try to backtrack everything and be like, Vecna is the source of everything. Vecna is Mind Flayer. Vecna is every creature from the Upside Down. You've created the Upside Down 11. Why? And then they were like, no, actually it didn't exist, and then it just existed. Thank you. It's so, I think it was quite lazy. And also they were like, oh wow, so this Upside Down is it's the same from the moment 11 opened it. But then you've had lights at Will's house in series 1, like on the wall. They were not on the wall until Winona Ryder's character put them up. But then it didn't make sense because Nancy's room in Upside Down was from like way back when, right? So when is Upside Down? They try to explain it to a point where actually it makes sense less. I'm trying not to bash on the series as a whole. I kind of still enjoyed watching it. Obviously I binged it, so it wasn't that bad. But I kind of also want to say this because everybody's just talking about how good everything is and I don't see it. And from all of the YouTube comments that I saw from like compilations and like Netflix channel on YouTube and stuff, everybody's just raving. I think they're getting away with a lot of crimes because they have a lot of money for the production. Not on my watch. Thank you so much for sitting down with me and listening to me rant. Consider subscribing, all of those things would be really cool. Yeah, the next video I think I'm going to do some fashion videos because that's something that I'm really interested in as well. Anything that's pop culture and high art I love. So I hope you have a wonderful day ahead, or if it's night, have a wonderful sleep. I will see you on the next one. Bye.